we've transformed that from going to 100% agency to pretty much 99% using LinkedIn and other direct recruiting methods.
Coming to work at Lululemon is much more than just a job. It's a vocation, it's a way of life, and we change people's lives by providing them with an incredible place to work.
Can be quite inspiring at times. You help transform people's lives in a way that I never thought I would as a business professional.
Saisir sa chance, yeah. Take a chance.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome LinkedIn EMEA's Managing Director, Ariel Eckstein.
Good morning, and thank you. It's my privilege this morning to welcome you to Talent Connect London. It's our third annual European client event and the largest corporate recruiting conference in Europe. This year, we're thrilled to welcome customers from 44 countries, including Bulgaria, Nigeria, Ukraine, Russia, and Egypt. A very different conference in a lot of ways from the first one that we launched 3 years ago, when basically it was just a local recruitment event. This is reflective of the growth of social recruiting and the transformative impact it's having around the globe. It's also reflective of the continued growth of LinkedIn, in a tremendous measure thanks to you. Of the growth of LinkedIn throughout the region, where we now have over 75 million members. We have both today a great turnout of people and an incredibly busy agenda. And so if you haven't already, I very much encourage you to download the Talent Connect app. You can get it on Google Play, you can get it on the App Store. It's going to allow you to figure out what sessions you'd like to attend, track the program, see who from your connections is already here, and who you may want to meet. And speaking of people who you'd like to meet, I'd like to recognize a few attendees who deserve special attention. So LinkedIn is 10 years old now. We celebrated our 10th anniversary in May. And some of our 238 million members have been with us since the beginning. The earliest adopter of LinkedIn who's here today is Irina Schenkman, the global talent acquisition leader for Bloomberg. Irina, thank you for being on this voyage with us. The most connected person in the audience, we define that as the person with the largest number of connections, makes sense, right? Is Glenn Cathy. Glenn clearly knows the value of building his network on LinkedIn. Greg is also one of the leading experts in the world on Boolean search, who will share some of his tricks of the trade and expertise with us later today. One of the most popular features of LinkedIn is seeing who's viewed your profile, and come on, you know you all do it, okay? With that in mind, our most popular, the person with the most page views to their profile over the last 30 days is Robin Collins, the International Talent Manager for Etihad Airways. I don't know what she's doing, but she's doing something right, right? Since launching, our members have provided their connections with over 2 billion endorsements. Did you know that profiles with an endorsement are 4 times more likely to be viewed than those without? Our most endorsed member is Jorgen Sundberg, who does both editing The Undercover Recruiter. If you haven't read it, you should. It's a great publication. And is also CEO of Link Humans, a firm that helps companies like yours get social recruiting and social media. So he's also doing something right, because everyone's telling him so. So these are the people who are here. But why are we here? What are we going to do today? And like I said, it's a pretty full-on day. So in a few minutes, I'm going to welcome Dan Shapiro, our VP of Talent Solutions and Insights, and Parker Burrill, our Senior Director for Product Management, to talk to you a little bit about the vision, mission, and how we're evolving our offering for LinkedIn across the world. They're going to be followed by Jeremy Rolfidal, the global HR leader for Capgemini, who's going to talk both about some of the experiences that Capgemini is living, as well as some provocative ideas on what LinkedIn should be thinking, as well as how talent management is evolving. And then we're going to give you a short break, not a long break, to keep you on the court. And we're then going to have Didier Desir. We're going to have two LinkedIners, James Raybould and Will Hamlin, as well as Charlie Milne of Westpac Bank, one of Australia's leading banks, talk about how they're using data, and the leading companies are using deep data, the whole big data element that people are talking about, to set themselves apart from other recruitment organizations. And then Didier Desert of EY and Lindsay Ahern are going to talk about a recent study that digs deeply into how the jobs of tomorrow are evolving, as well as the competencies which the employees of tomorrow need to have in order to meet the needs of your companies and the rest of the companies that LinkedIn works with. And after that, we're going to give you a break, let you fuel up, because the afternoon is just as busy. And so before we dive into the program, I wanted to thank you. I want to thank you for being LinkedIn members, for your trust in us as our clients, and for spending time with us. You define the future of your company. And you do this by the talent that you attract that delights your clients, by the talent that actually delivers your products and services and fundamentally allows your companies to run and to grow. The people in this room know that talent is the single most important competitive advantage for the 21st century. So over the next few hours, you'll hear a little bit about how LinkedIn can help you continue to transform yourselves as talent professionals, your teams, and your companies. And with that, I'm extremely honored to welcome up our first presenter, our Global Vice President for Talent Solutions, Dan Shapiro.
Hello, everyone. For those of you that I haven't met, my name is Dan Shapiro, and it's my deep pleasure to be here with all of you today. We have over 1,000 people, leaders in talent acquisition from around Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, here in London, and joined by several thousand more around the world to really talk about the future of talent acquisition. And leading up to Talent Connect, I was reminded of a speech that I heard Steve Jobs give back in 1997 upon his return to Apple. And he talked about how all great companies have a tremendous clarity about what they stand for. And he encapsulated it with a very simple question: who do they honor? He talked about how Nike honors great athletes and great athletics, and he believed that Apple honored people that were crazy enough to think that they could change the world. And that simple concept was the foundation for the launch of the Think Different campaign, which rebranded Apple and led to its rise. Here at LinkedIn, we honor people that create dream jobs. Dream jobs change lives. They leverage the best of your strengths and give you a tremendous sense of purpose. It's almost as if your physical body chemistry changes, and it's visible to your friends, to your family. It's a different life of sorts. And what's inspiring to me is that here in this room, we have people that create that feeling for professionals on a daily basis around the world. And my hope, my dream, is that if we can work together over the next day to advance as a group, then we can create that moment for more people than ever before. We have that power. And so what I want to do this morning is to share with you a little bit around our future, our vision for the future of talent acquisition. But before I do, I want to talk about giving you an update on the LinkedIn ecosystem itself, because it's that ecosystem which is the foundation for all of the value that we create together. The most important value at LinkedIn is the concept that our members come first. And what that means is that our loyalty to you is first to you as an individual professional before it is to you as an organization. And when we think about tracking our own success, we measure ourselves against a very specific vision, which is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. In fact, if you went to Mountain View, California, where our headquarters is, and you interviewed a series of engineers, what you'd find is that the vast majority of them are working on products or working on features that we never intend to sell. They're specifically designed to enhance the free member experience on LinkedIn. And yet we understand that a healthy and vibrant ecosystem is the foundation for our business, and it's how we create value for all of you. And the more we can enhance that ecosystem, the better that we can help you hire the best talent around the world. So I am happy to report that the LinkedIn ecosystem is in the healthiest place that we've ever been as a company. And I'm going to share with you a couple examples to bring that to life. The first is that our membership is growing at the fastest rate in the company's history. There are over 238 million members on LinkedIn around the world. And in fact, that's 60 million more than the last time that we were together here in London at Talent Connect. And it's a global network. Over 144 million of those members are outside of the United States. And that number is growing faster than the global average. And just to bring that concept to life of the fact that it's not just about the size of the network, but the shape of it's changing as well. In the last year alone, we've hit 1 million members in 10 new countries. And across Europe and the Middle East, hit new scale in different regions. Over 13 million members in the UK, over 16 million members in France, and 2 million members in the Middle East. It's not just about geographic expansion, because the industry makeup of LinkedIn is changing as well. I remember a time several years ago where LinkedIn felt more like a technology-oriented membership. And yet today, our membership is a true cross-section of the global workforce. Today, we have over 15 million members in healthcare, 1 million members in fashion, and believe it or not, 8 million sommeliers. And so whether you're looking for someone to be a great hospital technician or a fashion director or someone who knows amazing things about wine, we've got someone that you're looking for. But perhaps the demographic that I'm most excited about in terms of the evolution of the LinkedIn ecosystem is what's happening with students. Because students are a population that makes some of the most important career decisions in their lives with oftentimes limited access to information. I mean, think about it. When I remember my time as a student and I was trying to figure out some of my first important career decisions, I would ask anyone that would give me advice. I would talk to my friends, I would talk to my family, I would talk to my professors, anything I could do to cobble together a collage of information to help me make a very hard decision. And the reason that I needed to do that was because there wasn't a data set that I could turn to and trust to guide me through the process. And yet that data now exists on LinkedIn. And as a result, there are now over 30 million college students and recent grads coming to LinkedIn to chart their future. Earlier this year, we launched University Pages, which is a place for people that are students of a school to learn what people before him have gone on to accomplish, the companies they've worked for, the roles that they've played, the industries that they've gone to, and also specific alumni who have gone on to do amazing things in their career to bring inspiration to them. This is an example. This is my alma mater, Johns Hopkins University. And simply by going to this page, I have a real sense of what people have gone on to achieve in their lives. And I also see that the most notable alumni, including Michael Bloomberg, what he's done in his career, which is incredibly inspiring. But it's not just about the growth of the network, because one of the core pillars of LinkedIn is the professional profile. And I'm happy to say that members are updating their professional profiles at a rate never seen before on LinkedIn. In fact, there's been 70% growth year on year on the number of people that have updated their professional profile. What's exciting for me, though, is that the concept of the profile itself is evolving. Here's an example. Here's Kate. Kate is a makeup artist. And while I can get a real sense of what Kate's capable of by looking at the companies she's worked for and the roles that she's had, sometimes a picture says 1,000 words. And when I see these images, it gives me a fundamentally new perspective on Kate as a professional. Now, perhaps a little more Cirque du Soleil than my morning makeup routine, but you get the picture. And in the last year, we've launched a feature called the LinkedIn Portfolio, which takes multimedia content and integrates it directly into the LinkedIn profile. And that's just not about makeup artists or people in the visual arts. It's about marketers, it's about architects, it's about chefs. In the last year, we've seen 3 million pieces of multimedia content uploaded into profiles. And what's exciting for us is it's not just a new capability for people to showcase their skills as a professional, but it's added value for all of you to understand what best-in-class talent looks like. So we've talked about the growth of the network, and we've talked about the professional profile. But one of the most exciting parts of the evolution of LinkedIn is that people are coming to LinkedIn to garner insights to be better at their job on a daily basis. Last year at Talent Connect, we talked about the recent launch of the Influencers platform, which is a place for business luminaries and leaders to showcase their latest thinking on the future of their industries, the workplace, and what it takes to become an amazing professional. And in the past year, that program has expanded to over 400 leaders from around the world. And what's exciting for me is that personally, this has become a sort of a personal circle of mentors in my life. And one of those mentors is Fred Kaufman. For those of you that don't know Fred, I highly recommend that you follow him. He's an expert in the world of organizational health and leadership. And I can remember back to a time a couple months ago where I was facing a problem on my team. We've all been there. You know, you go to a meeting and you're just not making the progress that you're hoping for. And I was reflecting on what was going wrong and maybe what I was doing to contribute to the problem. And it was almost as if Fred knew what I was going through, and he posted an article. And I read it, and it started with a very simple phrase. He said, "Decisions are worthless unless you turn them into commitments." And it was exactly the kind of simple and practical advice that I needed to go back to my team and chart us forward to a better place. And what's inspiring for me is that I was one of over 500,000 people that read that article that day. And I can only imagine how it helped them be better at their jobs, just like it helped me be better at mine. The latest round of thought leadership on LinkedIn is not actually coming from people, but it's coming from companies. Because companies are using LinkedIn to showcase their latest thinking to build relationships with professionals around the world, whether from a product perspective or from a talent perspective. This is a great example from Shell. Shell posted an interactive website that talked about how the evolution of power generation was going to evolve over the next 20 years, both by location and power source. And for those of you interested in the oil and gas and power sector, it's a real insight into the challenges and opportunities in front of a company like Shell. And it gives you a real sense of how Shell is a thought leader in the space. And it's not just companies like Shell, it's IBM, it's AIG, it's Adobe. It's a wide range of organizations using LinkedIn as their thought leadership platform to connect globally with professionals. So to bring it all together, I'm incredibly happy to report to you that the LinkedIn ecosystem is in the healthiest place in the company's history. Membership is growing, people are investing in their profiles, and people are coming to LinkedIn to glean insights to be better at the jobs that they're in. But enough about LinkedIn. Let's talk about why we're here. And I don't believe that we're here because of LinkedIn. I don't believe that we're here because of social media. I believe we're here because we're in the midst of the most important shift in the world of talent acquisition in the last 100 years. And I'd like to share with you our framework for how we think about that. I want you to imagine a pyramid of the world's global workforce. At the top of the pyramid, I want you to think of true impact players, people for whom the difference between someone good and someone great makes a massive difference to the business. Think CEOs, think heads of divisions, think your most important innovators in your company. And at the bottom of the pyramid, I want you to imagine people for whom the difference between someone average and someone great only matters a little. And the example I like to use, and I apologize if anyone's done this earlier in their career, is a grocery store checkout clerk. Now you go to the grocery store and you select all your items, and their job is to process you throughout the store and send you on your way. And while a great employee probably shows up consistently on time and is more helpful with customers, it's not going to make or break the business. And we've got roles everywhere in between in the global workforce. And historically, we've had two primary methods of talent acquisition that serve the top and the bottom particularly well. At the top, we have headhunting. And headhunting is a high quality but high cost process, and it works incredibly well as long as you're not operating at scale. And at the bottom, we have the opposite. We have what I'll call help wanted. And 100 years ago, help wanted was probably a sign in your storefront, And eventually it was an ad in the classified section of the newspaper, and more recently perhaps a job post online, but essentially it's the same thing. It's an advertisement promoting a job opening to active candidates looking for work. And in the last 100 years, these models worked incredibly effectively because the average organization looked like this. Think railroads, think big factories, think farms. You had a small number of people at the top of the organization that made all of the decisions, and they oversaw a very large cross-section of semi-skilled labor. But that's not what your organization looks like. Your organization looks like this. The fundamental makeup of our companies has changed. And for most of you, the number of people that you need to be great, to be effective, is 40 to 80% of your company. And that simple change in the way that our companies are structured has broken our recruitment model. You need great talent at scale. And you need a strategy that serves the business to have a competitive advantage. We've been laser focused on this problem for the last 5 years. How do you deliver high quality talent at scale? And we believe that the answer is passive talent. Because 80% of the world's workforce isn't looking for work, and yet that population contains some of the best and brightest professionals in the world. And for the first time, LinkedIn has provided a platform that has given access to passive talent. But if there's anything that we've learned, it's that communicating with passive talent is a fundamentally different problem than with active talent. And in order to make that transition, we've needed to learn completely new skills. We've needed to learn about branding and pipelining. We've needed to learn about sourcing and Boolean search. And many of us have needed to learn about promoting our companies and our jobs in the same way that world-class marketers talk about their products and services. Because passive talent doesn't need a job. They have a job, oftentimes a great one. And what's inspiring to me is that so many of you here have made this transition over the last several years and become truly world-class at these disciplines. And many of you are newer but are well on your way. And I wanted to take a moment to say thank you, because building a product to solve a problem like this takes a tremendous amount of feedback. And I think many of you in the room, and you know who you are, have helped us along this journey to build a solution that does deliver great talent at scale by leveraging passive talent. So thank you. But we still have a long way to go. And the line for best in class gets redrawn every year. And we believe that over the next several years, there will be 2 new disciplines within the modern recruiting playbook that are going to differentiate the best in class. The first is that we need to rethink the way we engage candidates, because the process for a passive candidate to think about leaving their company and joining yours, it doesn't happen in an instant. It's not an impulse decision. It's a journey, and it takes time. And we invest a tremendous amount in thinking through all the touch points about how to grab the attention of a passive candidate, whether it be the imagery on our career sites or the videos of our employees talking about their latest and greatest work. In an increasingly noisy world, we are constantly running the risk of having any one of these touch points skim off the surface. We need to rethink the way that we engage these people. What we need is a seamless experience, one that puts the candidate in the driver's seat and allows them to take whatever path that they want to learn about your organization and be excited about you as an employer. We call this new view on engaging talent the new candidate journey. And over the past year at LinkedIn, we've taken all of the various touch points across LinkedIn, whether they be jobs or career content, or the way that members are engaging with your employees. And we've taken all of those and stitched those together in a way that allows candidates to chart their own journey through LinkedIn to build a relationship with your firm. Let me show you how it works. So I want you to imagine a candidate named John, and he's a passive candidate, and he's a graphic designer. And he goes to LinkedIn one day and he realizes that one of his former colleagues, Stephanie, has recently joined Adobe. Now, he's used Adobe products, but he's never actually thought about Adobe as an employer, and so curious about what Adobe's up to, he decides to follow them. And over the next month, he starts to get updates about what Adobe's working on. He hears about their new product launches, hears about their corporate philanthropy efforts, and he starts to read articles published by their executives on the future of their industry. And then one day, in his feed, he catches an article that's about the future of digital publishing. And something about it just resonates with him on a fundamental level. And inspired by the piece, he decides to look up the person that wrote it. And that's when what started as a casual conversation, curiosity, changes. Because there, on the right-hand side of this profile, he sees a targeted job that is exactly the kind of thing that he would be excited about. And curious to learn more, he actually jumps to look at the job. He starts reading about what the job entails. And as he's reading, he also starts to learn about Adobe's philosophy with regard to best-in-class talent. He starts to watch a video that talks about what employees around the world at Adobe are working on. And that seamless integration between job content and company content is facilitated by our new integration between jobs and career pages. And curious to learn more, he jumps to the career page and he starts to read stories about what some of Adobe's best people are working on around the world. And he decides to throw his hat in the ring until he realizes that he doesn't have a resume. But he does have a LinkedIn profile. And so 2 clicks later, he's thrown his name in the hat. He never intended to be serious about thinking about a new job. And yet, because of this journey, the gnawing thought in the back of his mind is, what if Adobe could be my dream job? The new candidate journey is a dance. It's a dance where the candidate leads. And yet you're with them every step of the way to provide the right information and insight to guide them through the process. And that is the future of nurturing great talent into your organization. But as we all know, sometimes with passive talent, we need to make the first move. And the challenge is that the sea of potential dance partners is expanding by the day. In fact, there are over 238 million dance partners on LinkedIn alone. And you know great talent when you see it, but the process of finding the right person, the profile that's going to be the right match for your company and the skills required for the job can be incredibly difficult at times and time-consuming. What we need to do is we need to take the art of your instinct for great people and blend it with the science of data and analytics to find for you exactly the right person. And even if we find for you the right person, timing can be everything. I mean, in recruiting, a candidate that couldn't care less about talking to you right now, a month later, something may have happened in their lives where they're really excited to talk to you about their future. And so what we're working on is a strategy to blend all the signals across LinkedIn to help you know who the right candidate is and when to contact them, to amplify your instincts. And we believe that that new trend is called intelligent candidate discovery. Over the last year, we've woven the theme of intelligent candidate discovery throughout the recruiter experience. Earlier this year, we launched a product or a feature called People You May Want to Hire, which observes all of your activity across LinkedIn Recruiter. The people you're searching for, the profiles you're looking at, to unearth for you candidates that you may never have found on your own. There's also Talent Match, which every time you load a job into LinkedIn, will show you people out of the 238 million across LinkedIn that seem like a great match so that you can reach out to them proactively and not have to wait for them to apply to your job. And of course, because timing is everything, features like Update Me and Search Alerts make sure that you're aware when something has changed in the life of a member of your talent pool that you're focused on. By using all of the signals across LinkedIn, we can make you more effective at sourcing, sometimes without ever having to conduct a search. But let's talk about search for a second. Because we envision a future of recruiter that is more personalized to the recruiter. Let me explain what I mean. So right now, if you search on LinkedIn for a Java software engineer, we will show you the best Java software engineer matches. And yet, what you're looking for, the right Java software engineer for you, is probably different from the recruiter sitting next to you or the company down the street. You don't want any Java software engineer. You want the Java software engineers that went to the schools or worked at the companies that have produced some of your best people. You want Java software engineers that are interested in their company, as evidenced by the fact that they're connected to your employees or they're following your organization. You want Java software engineers that are going to be a perfect fit with your company. And in that world, it's no longer LinkedIn Recruiter, it's your LinkedIn Recruiter. Over the next several years, we believe the themes of the new candidate journey and intelligent candidate discovery are going to be at the heart of best in class. These capabilities are available today. Some of you are already deploying them as part of your strategy. And we're excited to work with all of you starting now to deploy these as part of your practice. Both to nurture great people into your organization and build a relationship with them on the terms that work for candidates around the world, and to make sure that all of your instincts for talent are amplified by the capabilities of data and analytics. That's our promise to you. The last 5 years have been a tremendous sea change in the world of talent acquisition, and we're incredibly proud of how far we've all come together. Many of you have completely elevated the role of talent acquisition within your organizations, and in many of you, you've elevated your own role at your company. And yet, in the midst of all this change and all this progress, there's another tectonic shift that's in our midst. One that has the potential to rewrite the playbook for recruiting in the same way that the internet did nearly 20 years ago. And navigating this shift is going to be core to your success. We've been spending the last year building a product portfolio that's going to help you navigate this seamlessly. And I'm excited to bring up my colleague and partner, Parker Burrill, our head of products and talent solution at LinkedIn, to share with you what we've been working on to help you make that transition. I'm incredibly excited for you to see what he has to show. So let's welcome up Parker.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be back at Talent Connect London. Welcome. Anyone recognize this chart? I'll give you a hint. It's not Harry Styles' Twitter followers. It's actually the growth in smartphone users over the past 10 years. Today, 1 billion people are addicted to Harry Styles. To their smartphone. Sorry, hard to get that guy out of your head, huh? Yeah, so people love their phones, and they're using them to do many of the same things they used to do on desktop computers. But I don't need to convince you that the world's going mobile. For most of us, this is the first device we interact with in the morning, and the last one we check before bed. Now, you just heard from Dan how LinkedIn has evolved from a collection of powerful products into a seamlessly integrated talent platform. What used to be vision has become reality. I'm here today to extend this new reality into the mobile world, to take the new candidate journey and intelligent candidate discovery and bring them to life on mobile. And on that note, I'm excited to announce 4 new features that all have one thing in common: mobile. Gosh, that just doesn't sound as good as mobile, does it? Another reason I wish I had a British accent, but you're stuck with an American today, so mobile it is. Now, I know you're probably excited to hear about these new features, but before we dive in, I wanted to start with something fun. Now, those of you who were here last year may remember that I started my keynote with a live people search. And it was a powerful way to illustrate the scale of LinkedIn and the speed of searching in Recruiter. This year, I'd like to try something a little different. This year, I'm looking for an insanely fast mobile typist. And I figured that the best way to find this person would be to do a live test. So in just a moment, I'll share my phone number and a short message, and the first person to text that message back to me right here, live on stage, will get something special. Make sense? Okay, ready? Please text "I love Talent Connect" to +1 650 453 8108. I know. US number. Wow, that was fast. All right, the first one's in. Let's take a look. I love Talent Connect. Looks right. It's from 07540914379. If that's your number, will you please stand up? All right. Hi, there you are. All right, I'd like you to come up here on stage. That's right. That's your something special. You get to come up here. Hi, I'm Parker.
Hi.
What's your name?
Amy.
Amy, it's nice to meet you.
Hi.
Welcome. So I brought you up here because I'd like to have you apply to a job on your phone right here live on stage. But just to make it a little easier, I've actually preloaded the apply flow for a company who shall go unnamed on my phone. So I figure it's probably easier if you just use this. Why don't you take a look? Does that look like a pretty standard ATS apply flow?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. All right, now while Amy's typing away, I wanted to remind everyone that this is actually my personal phone number. So probably best not to save it because I don't want anyone calling me at 4 a.m. with feature requests, especially not after the party tonight. What happens at Talent Connect stays at Talent Connect. Got it? Okay, good. All right, now Amy, how's it going? Making progress? Done?
No.
Not even close?
No.
Okay, let me take a look and see how far you got. Name, email, phone, cover letter. Cover letter? On a phone? You gotta be kidding me. No wonder you couldn't finish. All right, well, I appreciate your help. We're gonna have to ask you to take a seat, but thank you. Can we give Amy a round of applause? Thank you, Amy. Now, that was interesting because if it's hard for Amy to apply to a job on her phone, imagine how the rest of us feel. You know, it actually reminds me of one of my favorite Simpsons clips of all time. Let's take a quick look.
I gotta call the plant and warn them.
The fingers you have used to dial are too fat. To obtain a special dialing wand, please mash the keypad with your palm now.
Yeah, I mean, that's how most of us feel typing on tiny smartphone keyboards. At least for me, it's true. But all joking aside, I am serious about one thing. Mobile is different. You can't just take a feature that works on the web and put it on a phone. You have to start from scratch, understand mobile behaviors, and redesign from the ground up. And at LinkedIn, we've learned this firsthand because we've been building mobile apps for years. Today, our flagship app is winning awards and growing faster than ever. In fact, over 30% of LinkedIn visits now come from mobile. So this is an opportunity to reach a whole new universe of passive candidates. And one of the best ways to reach passive candidates is work with us, which has been a huge success since we launched it a few years ago. Now, in designing Work With Us, we started out with two simple premises. First, profile is the most viewed page on LinkedIn. And second, people like to work with people they know. So we decided to build Work With Us, which lives on the right-hand side of profiles and displays jobs that are relevant for the viewer at the company of the person whose profile they're viewing. So, for example, if I'm looking at the profile of a friend who works at Acme Inc., I'll see jobs at Acme that are relevant for me. This is a powerful way to turn your employees into ambassadors for your talent brand. And it works. Right away, we knew we had a hit on our hands because click-through rates for Work With Us are 10 times higher than for conventional recruitment ads. Which brings me to today's first product. Work With Us on mobile profiles. It appears in a special section right near the top that's sure to drive lots of engagement. But the best part is, it's free for existing Work With Us customers. No extra cost, no configuration required. So now, whenever someone looks at your employees' mobile profiles, they'll see relevant jobs at your company. This is incredibly valuable real estate, and it extends the mobile footprint of your talent brand in a way that's only possible on LinkedIn. But it's not just Work With Us. We put jobs in our mobile app a little over a year ago, and today, 25% of job views come from mobile. But jobs engagement on LinkedIn is different from other sites. because many of those views come from passive candidates who click on jobs in the feed. So you need a way to help your jobs stand out. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm fighting a cold. You need a way to help your job stand out, and it just so happens that last year at Talent Connect, we announced a new feature that does just that, sponsored jobs. Here's a quick refresher on how sponsored jobs work. We started with jobs you may be interested in, LinkedIn's job matching technology that connects the jobs you post with the right passive candidates, and today generates over 50% of jobs engagement on LinkedIn. Then we added the ability to sponsor jobs that are senior or urgent or hard to fill and have them appear right at the top of jobs you may be interested in modules all across LinkedIn. You just set a bid and a budget, and we automatically target the right passive candidates. Every candidate who clicks is relevant because otherwise we wouldn't have shown them the job in the first place. Over the past year, thousands of companies have started sponsoring jobs, and the results have been extremely promising. Sponsored jobs get 50% more applies than jobs that aren't sponsored. So this is an effective way to turbocharge your most important jobs. And that brings me to today's second new product, sponsored jobs on mobile. Now, when LinkedIn members open the mobile app, they'll see sponsored jobs in their feed. Not only are click-through rates higher on mobile, but 50% of members who view jobs on mobile don't engage in jobs on the desktop site, which means that mobile is the only way to reach them. Like Work With Us, this feature works automatically for existing campaigns. Same jobs, same bids, same budgets. So now you have a way to reach the most in-demand passive candidates on mobile at scale. So we're connecting the right jobs with the right candidates on mobile. But you don't just want views, you want applies. And passive candidates will only apply if the process is dead simple. So we've spent a lot of time thinking about how to turn passive candidates into warm leads, which brings me to today's third new product, Mobile Apply. In designing Mobile Apply, we faced two challenges. First, it's hard to attach a resume on a phone because most phones don't have file storage. So we decided to let members apply with just their LinkedIn profile. And we made it easy for them to edit their profile during the apply flow to make sure that it's complete and up to date. Second, many employers direct candidates to a career site or ATS to apply. And a lot of those sites aren't optimized for mobile. So we devised a way to let members complete the apply process right in our app and then deliver their profile information directly to a client system behind the scenes. The result is a quick, seamless apply process that's optimized for mobile. Let's take a quick look at how it works for a member named Kevin. First, Kevin opens the mobile app and starts browsing through his feed. He sees a job that looks interesting and clicks to learn more. Now, on the job description page, he sees the new Apply button. Clicking Apply takes Kevin through a quick two-step flow. Step 1, confirm or update your profile. Step 2, add your contact info. That's it. Just 2 simple steps. After applying, Kevin lands back on a list of jobs so that he can continue his search. It's really that simple. You could probably apply to a few dozen jobs before I finish my keynote. And LinkedIn is hiring, by the way. We launched Mobile Apply in August, and since then, results have been off the charts. We've had over 800,000 applications submitted on mobile, and many of those applications come from passive candidates who don't engage in jobs on the desktop site. So now, with Mobile Apply, you're not just reaching new passive candidates on mobile, you're converting them into warm leads. All right, we've covered a lot of ground, so time for a quick recap. Members are flocking to LinkedIn's mobile app, and we're connecting them with the right job opportunities on mobile profiles and in the feed. And we've made it dead simple for passive candidates to apply on mobile. The new candidate journey has become the mobile candidate journey. But what about you, the recruiters? Well, over the past year, we spent a lot of time talking with you to better understand how you work. And we learned that, like other professionals, you're on the go. Meeting with candidates, attending career fairs, or just having lunch with your friends. Your job doesn't just happen at your desk. We heard lots of great stories, and I wanted to share one from a client named Rose, who leads technical recruiting at a company in Texas. Rose said, "I was at Reliant Park in Houston on a cold Saturday night for a 5K fun run. While I was running, a candidate I'd been pursuing finally responded to my in-mail after weeks of radio silence. I literally stopped running, walked over to the side of the course, pulled my phone out of my shorts, and called him back right then and there." Talk about an adrenaline rush. And I love that story because it illustrates Rose's commitment to her cause and the power of responding quickly. We heard stories like this from hundreds of recruiters, and every one of you said that you want the freedom to stay connected no matter where you are. Well, I've got good news. Over the past several months, we've been working with a team of mobile designers to do for Recruiter what we've already done for LinkedIn. Build a simple, beautiful mobile app that captures the essence of Recruiter in a phone-sized package. Today, I'm incredibly excited to share with you Recruiter on mobile. We took the most important functionality in Recruiter, redesigned it from the ground up to be optimized for mobile, and packed it into an incredibly useful and beautiful mobile app. So now you can use Recruiter when you're at the cafe, on the metro, wherever you want. Let's take a closer look at how it works. When you open the app, you'll see the same update stream as on your Recruiter homepage. This helps you understand what's changed since you last logged in, and it guides you toward the things that most need your attention. For example, if a prospect you're following updated his or her profile, or if there are new results for a search you saved. Now, at its core, Recruiter is designed to help you find and contact top talent. So we've made it easy to pivot into search and messaging. Let's take a quick look at the inbox. Imagine you're on your way to meet a candidate with whom you've been exchanging messages. And you can remember her name, Susan Smith, but you want a quick refresher on her work history. Well, now you can look up her profile on your way to the meeting with just a few taps. And when you're done, you can save her to a project or add notes while she's fresh in your mind. All of the key workflow functionality is embedded in the app. The app is also designed for prospecting. So let's say you recently read an article about the computer science program at Cambridge, and you'd like to find some recent grads. You can search across the entire LinkedIn member base from the search bar in the top nav and see the same results as in Recruiter, including full profiles for all 238 million LinkedIn members. Results are easy to scan, and you can actually swipe through them for faster browsing. It's really slick. When you find someone you're interested in, it's easy to shoot them a message, or if you've entered their phone number, text or call them from within the app. And all of your interactions are tracked in the recent activity module to ensure that you and your team stay coordinated. Most important, the app empowers you to react quickly. In settings, you can turn on push notifications to be notified when you have new messages. Because sometimes a few hours makes the difference between closing and losing a top candidate. This isn't just another mobile app. This is 238 million professionals in the palm of your hand. The full power of Recruiter on your phone. Wow. Yeah. Woo. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. So now that you've seen the app, you're probably asking yourself, one, how much does it cost? And two, when can I start using it? Well, I'll cut to the chase. How about free and now? That's right. Woo. Yeah. I think the now part is particularly exciting. So on that, iPhone users can go to the App Store and search for LinkedIn Recruiter. Everyone else can access the mobile web version at linkedin.com/recruiter. Oh, and one more thing. We embedded a secret feature in the app that we hope you'll discover. And I'll give you a hint. If the app causes you to jump up and down with excitement, you just might find it. All right. So hopefully you're busy downloading the app and only half listening. But I wanted to close by saying that this isn't about changing the way Recruiter works. This is about changing the way you work. LinkedIn gets mobile, and LinkedIn gets recruiting. We've started bringing those worlds together in ways that no one else can. But this is just the beginning. Expect us to be innovative, expect us to be mobile first, and expect us to lead the way in mobile recruiting for years to come. Welcome to connecting talent with opportunity at mobile scale. Thank you.